The diner was a relic, its neon sign flickering like a heartbeat in the Nevada dusk. Jack Harper sat at the counter, nursing a coffee gone cold, his 6-year-old daughter, Lily, coloring beside him. The weight of the day clung to him, another shift at the auto shop, another stack of bills waiting at home. A single dad at 32, Jack wore his exhaustion like a second skin, but Lily's giggles were the thread that kept him stitched together. Tonight, though, her crayons lay still, her eyes darting to a couple in the corner booth. "There's a camera," Lily whispered, tugging Jack's sleeve. Her voice was small, but it carried the kind of certainty only a child could muster. Jack followed her gaze to the couple, a polished man in a tailored suit and a woman whose elegance seemed borrowed from another world. The man's back was to them, but the woman's face was open, radiant, like she was falling in love all over again. Jack leaned down. "What do you mean, sweetheart?" Lily pointed subtly at the man's jacket, draped over the booth. "In his pocket. It's blinking." Jack squinted. A tiny red light pulsed from the jacket's fold, barely noticeable unless you were looking. "A camera?" His gut twisted. He wasn't one to pry, but something about the man's calculated charm, the way he leaned in, too smooth, too perfect, set Jack's nerves on edge. He'd seen enough con artists in his old neighborhood to recognize the act. The woman, he realized, was Eleanor Voss, heiress to a casino empire. Her face was plastered on billboards from Vegas to Reno, though in person, she seemed softer, unguarded. The man, her fiancé according to the gossip rags, was Victor Crane, a slick entrepreneur who'd swept into her life 6 months ago. Jack didn't care for tabloids, but you couldn't escape the headlines in this town. Lily tugged his sleeve again. "Daddy, is he spying on her?" Jack's heart sank. He wanted to dismiss it, to tell Lily it was nothing, but her wide, trusting eyes held him accountable. He taught her to notice things, to be sharp, like her mother had been before the accident. Jack glanced at the couple again. Victor's hand grazed Eleanor's, his smile a little too sharp. While that red light kept blinking, he could walk away. He should walk away. He was just a mechanic, barely scraping by, with no business meddling in the lives of the rich and powerful. But then he thought of Lily's mother, Sarah, who'd always said, "If you see wrong, you fix it, Jack. That's what makes us human." He couldn't shake the memory of her voice, or the way Lily was watching him now, waiting to see what kind of man he was. Jack paid for their meal, took Lily's hand, and approached the booth. His pulse hammered. "Excuse me, Ms. Voss," he said, voice steady despite the knot in his chest. "I don't mean to intrude, but I think you should know something." Eleanor looked up, startled but kind. Victor's smile faltered, just for a second. Jack nodded toward the jacket. "There's a camera in his pocket. It's recording." The diner went quiet, or maybe it was just Jack's world narrowing to this moment. Eleanor's face shifted, confusion, then betrayal, her eyes locking onto Victor. "Is this true?" she asked, voice trembling. Victor laughed, too loud. "A camera? That's absurd. He's mistaken." But Lily, bold as ever, stepped forward. "It's blinking red. I saw it." Eleanor reached for the jacket, her hand shaking. She pulled out a small device, its lens glinting under the diner's fluorescent lights. The red light pulsed like a guilty heartbeat. Victor's face drained of color. "Eleanor, I can explain." "Get out," she said, her voice breaking but firm. Victor grabbed his things and left, the bell above the door jangling in his wake. Jack expected that to be the end of it. He took Lily's hand, ready to leave, but Eleanor called after him. "Wait, why did you tell me?" Jack hesitated. "Because it was the right thing to do." Eleanor's eyes softened, but there was a storm behind them. "You don't know what this means to me," she said. "Thank you." Jack nodded, unsure what else to say. He and Lily left the diner, the desert air cool against their skin. He thought that was the end of it, a strange story to tell over dinner someday. But life, as Jack would learn, had a way of surprising you. The next day, a sleek black car pulled up outside the auto shop. Eleanor Voss stepped out, no longer the vulnerable woman from the diner, but every inch the heiress. Jack wiped grease from his hands, bracing himself. Had he crossed a line? Was she here to warn him to stay quiet? Instead, she smiled. "You didn't just save me from a recording, Jack. You saved me from a lie." She explained that Victor had been a spy, not for a government, but for a rival company aiming to sabotage her family's business. The camera was part of a larger scheme, one her lawyers were now unraveling. She'd been blind to it, too caught up in love to see the truth. Jack's simple act of courage had changed everything. "I want to repay you," Eleanor said. "Name your price." Jack glanced at Lily, playing with a toy car in the corner of the shop. He thought of the bills, the long hours, the dreams he'd buried to keep them afloat. But Sarah's voice echoed again. Do what's right, not what's easy. I don't need a reward, he said. Just keep doing good with what you've got. That's enough. Eleanor studied him, then nodded. You're a rare kind of person, Jack Harper. Weeks later, a letter arrived at Jack's apartment. Inside was a deed to a small house, paid in full, in a quiet neighborhood with a good school for Lily. No note, no signature, but Jack knew who it was from. He sat on the floor, Lily curled against him, and cried for the first time since Sarah's funeral. Not because of the house, but because of what it meant. A second chance, a home, a future for Lily. He'd never asked for it, never expected it, but someone had seen his heart and answered with kindness. The emotional climax came that night as Jack tucked Lily into bed, her tiny voice asking, Daddy, did we help that lady be happy again? Yeah, sweetheart, he said, his throat tight. I think we did. As he watched her drift to sleep, Jack realized that the smallest acts, Lily's whisper, his decision to speak, could ripple out, changing lives in ways he'd never imagined. The world was hard, but it was still full of good, waiting to be uncovered by those brave enough to act.